Hello, vets. Welcome to another segment of the Veterans Nation show here on Veterans TV Network. I'm joined today by Mr. Brian Burkhart.
Hello, vets.
Yes, hello.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Or us or me.
Yeah,
Whatever.
one of our co-producers here at Veterans Network. We got some breakthrough news here. It's pretty fresh, hot off the press. If you remember, about 4 or 5 segments ago, we had our VSO, Dave Culmer, on the hotline with us, and we were discussing the Veterans Choice Act of 2014, which was designed to help veterans who live far from VA healthcare clinics and centers so they didn't have to travel so far, that they could get what they needed locally. And in discussing it with Dave, as you probably recall,
Right.
there were some gray areas.
Oh, yeah.
Even with Dave. And when Dave's got a gray area, something ain't right.
And he is the book.
He is the book. So here's what's happened. The VA came to their senses and figured this out. And I'm going to use an example. There was a gentleman that I talked to who lived in Ventura, California. He needed eye care. He needed an eye exam that requires a fairly specialized piece of equipment.
Sure.
So he went to the next town over, Oxnard, short drive, and they told him they have the equipment to do the test, but the person qualified to operate the equipment had moved on and was transferred somewhere else. Now this is a VA clinic. This is a regular VA clinic, outpost. So he said, well, where do I have to go? They told him he has to drive all the way to LA, some 80-some miles. And he said, well, I don't drive. And he was kind of left out in the cold. And we tried to get to the bottom of it. And through what was legislated in 2014, that's the way it was written.
Somebody missed something.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was under the impression that he could go to a private doctor there in his town and get that done, and the VA would reimburse it. They say no.
Right.
This gentleman had his card, he was in the system, all good to go. So the VA's recognized this. Now, interestingly, here's a switch.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of Congress telling the VA they're doing it wrong, we're going to legislate to make you do it right, the VA said to Congress, you guys wrote the act wrong, our hands are tied, you have to fix this.
Nice.
Yes.
That's great. VA policing themselves.
Exactly.
Gotta love that.
Yeah, so there's a senator named Jerry Moran from Kansas. He's got a new budget resolution in the works. It's all going to come together. And the way it'll work is, if such is the case, that you cannot get the care you need using the doctors and equipment that you need at a local VA healthcare clinic, you can go to a private doctor and you'll get reimbursed. As long as you got your health card and you're in the system. Also, there was a question about, must you be service connected? That question came up before. The answer is no.
Good.
You don't have to have a service-connected disability. As long as you have a VA health card and you're in the system and you're eligible, there are some eligibility factors, of course,
Right.
but as long as you're eligible, it's going to change. You can get local private care and treatment and be reimbursed.
Wow. That's huge.
That is huge. So we're happy to tell you this. You can learn more on the VA site. Just remember, the legislation still has to go into the works. It could be a couple months away, but it should be getting fixed. And I want to read a closing quote here on this report from Senator Moran. I kind of like this. He says, the quality of life of our veterans is affected. not because we don't want to care for them, but because we lack the common sense to implement a law properly.
Simply stated.
Simply stated. So, all right, here we go. Moving forward.
Wow.
You know,
That's mind blowing.
here's a little comparison here, a little analogy. I had to go to traffic court about, I don't know, 6-8 months ago for a ticket.
Oh, I think I remember you telling me about
Yeah,
this.
it was a stupid. Well, you know what it was? It was these new traffic lights. You know, they have this new bus line, and you can only turn right on green arrow. And if you miss it by a second, they take your picture, send you a ticket, all this stuff. And people are going nuts. They're blowing horns. There's like road rage brewing, and it's getting pretty ugly. Well, I'm in traffic court for just that, and in between cases, some guy had slipped into the courtroom, and he approached the judge's stand, and the judge is looking at him like, who the hell are you? What are you doing here? I don't have you on my docket.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. And this guy goes on a rant about just that. And he's saying stuff that is like coming right, as if it was coming out of my mouth.
Wow.
Man, people are blowing horns. They're getting violent. There's going to be crime in the streets. People are going to start beating each other up and shooting each other over these stupid traffic lights. And then he fingers the judge, and he says, when the crime rate goes up, I got to pay for it. Now, this judge is sitting there with his mouth open, and then the constables and the sheriffs, you know, guarding the courtroom, they give this guy a look like, buddy, you better shut up and quit and get the hell out of here while you're ahead. And he read that, and he left. And I'm going, wow, but you know what? Within a month, a lot of those traffic lights, the timing of them was changed.
Yep.
So that tells me, okay, maybe somebody went, hey, maybe that crazy guy that came in here has a good point. So Vets, he made noise. That's my point.
And I've witnessed Canoga and Roscoe.
Yeah, yeah.
Right there. I've witnessed an accident.
It
was yellow arrow.
Yeah.
Lady stopped. Rear-ended, because normally you run them, but this one knew.
Yeah.
If I run this yellow one, I'm getting my picture taken. I'm getting a ticket.
Sure.
Stopped.
She was scared.
Caused 3-car pileup. They
Sure.
just do.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So, make noise. You don't need a formal invitation,
Be loud.
as I've illustrated here. Make noise any way you can. Get stuff done, because we're seeing somebody made some noise about this, and we're going to get something fixed.
Fantastic.
Yes, sir. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to have a special guest.
All right.
Yeah. See you in a minute.
As a U.S. Marine serving in Iraq, I was trained for combat.
From where I was sitting as a U.S. Army soldier, I knew I had to go where I was told, when I was told. From where my family was sitting, they knew I had to go too.
But nothing prepared me for coming home. History shows that while most service members physically return from war,
Some never return emotionally.
some never return emotionally.
The challenges of healing the visible wounds of war can be a daily struggle.
Many face a daily struggle to access the support they need.
But help is available through the National Veterans Foundation Lifeline,
A lifeline staffed by fellow veterans who've been there.
dedicated to helping veterans and their families find solutions.
Time may not heal all wounds.
But from where I'm sitting today, I know the National Veterans Foundation can help.
The National Veterans Foundation can help.
For more information, call toll-free 1-888-777-4443 or go to our website, nvf.org.
All right, veterans, we are back, and we have a special guest with us. This is David Fralick.
David Fralick, a.k.a. David Shark Fralick. Shark, you're a vet.
Yes, sir.
All right, Navy?
Navy, then Air Force. I transferred.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Amazing. What years?
Whew. I started as a tadpole down in Florida. Then I joined the, what's it called, Sea Cadets.
Okay.
My dad was want me to be acclimated to what covered 3/4 of the world's surface, water.
All right.
And then I wanted to be a fighter pilot off a carrier and bomb the damn enemies. So
I get
I
you.
went to the Air Force to get my wings.
Did you get him?
Not quite. I
Not
went to
quite.
Maxwell Air Force Base at the ROTC for University of Alabama. I was also a walk-on wide receiver for legendary coach Paul Bear
Bryant.
Bryant. Got a national champion ring in '79. My first year as a walk-on receiver.
Wow.
Got the last 4 years of his reign, and then he died January 25th,
Wow.
'83.
Wow.
Wow. Good background. Good story. And
School of Hard Knocks, baby.
yeah, now Shark, you may know Shark, some of you. He's been acting for years, and he's probably most familiar face that Shark has been is on Young and Restless. You played what was the guy's name? Larry
Wharton.
Larry Wharton,
Yeah.
the ex-con on Young and Restless.
Every movie needs a bad guy, right? A nemesis.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Of course.
And I think you were in one of Van Damme's movies.
Called Desert Heat. It was shot under a different title.
Oh, yeah.
It was called Coyote Moon,
Wow.
and it was crazy story on that. The director from Karate Kid, Power of One, and Rocky, a guy named John Avildsen, directed it. And it was amazing with Danny Trejo. We had Vincent Schiavelli from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Pat Morita, Tom Hanks's brother, Woody Harrelson's brother, and that cute little blonde from My Name is Earl, Jamie Presley.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
So you got a nice resume going there. Now the reason we coerced the Shark to come visit us today
Is for the reason.
is for the reason. Now what the reason? Not too long ago, Brian and I were privy to the production of a documentary that was really more like, you would have to call it an edu-drama.
Somewhere in there.
It was educational in nature. It was somewhat documentary in nature, but it was done in a dramatic fashion. And it was called The Reason.
So this project was shot by a few people that we know, produced by a few people we know, and dear to our hearts.
Yeah,
Dear
very
Lord.
close.
Yeah, we helped out a little bit on it, and
It's just great to be involved in such a cool story.
yeah, what it was, and we'll show you some clips here along the way, is it was a history of the Vietnam War explained by a guy, I think his name is Professor Jack, aka Colonel Jack,
Jack.
played by Shark. And boy, did you put on a great job with that British accent. That was amazing.
You've got to be kidding me.
When I was watching this, I mean, this guy would recite pages of history. He'd put the pages on the ground, look at them for 5 seconds, and then he'd become this machine.
Incredible.
Not to mention with a British accent. It was pretty amazing. But anyway, cut to the chase. The colonel is a professor at some college in 1969, and there's this peace festival, this rock concert peace festival, just dripping with hippies and anti-war activists, and like really was in those days. And the colonel here, who was actually a former military veteran that made the rank of colonel in his, I think, 20-year career, I think.
At least, yeah.
He had been to Vietnam. This is all in this dramatized documentary. And what ends up happening is he ends up giving this cluster of hippie kids a lesson. And let's look at a couple of clips.
Teacher's night out.
Party time, come on, mates.
Colonel Jack has got a keg.
Yeah, Professor. You know. I gotta say, the part that I loved turned the side of your van into a chalkboard. You know, in between, drinks, you were drawing maps, you were writing history notes. Amazing. I loved it.
What better way to tell a story than with a visual assistant, right? From the Ho Chi Minh Trail in Laos and Cambodia.
Right.
And I just so happened to have a keg in the back.
There was some
Nothing wrong
drinking
with
going
that.
on in this. There was some drinking going on, yes. Yeah, that was cool. He turned the side of the van
that
into
was
a
pretty
chalkboard for these hippie kids. Yeah, and I mean, I watch it and it's like, wow, you really get the story. You really get the story. How we got sucked into that war, how it progressed.
Yeah.
And the thing that was really cool was you broke it down president by president. I think you started off with like FDR. I think you even mentioned Woodrow Wilson.
Went into Woodrow, yeah.
And then you just went through the line there and you took it all the way up to Nixon, who was president at that point in
Right.
1969.
Right?
And it was really cool.
Good history lesson. It should be shown across the.
Yeah.
Oh, it should be shown on campuses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're going to be seeing this available soon. I think it's getting publicized as we speak.
I gotta say, one thing that really stood out, though, in that was the relationship that you formed with Mitch, the little hippie kid. And you guys just started off on kind of a sour note and then just completely evolved. I gotta say, it was a huge growth and transition in the movie.
I appreciate that, man. It was a very well written script. It wasn't, I don't know, for other people to get off book, but for me, it had a rhythm and a flow to it that, if you know history at all, this accentuated that and hit the finer points on a war that should have never been started or fought. For what reason?
Oh, yeah.
What
Yeah.
reason? That's the reason.
The reason.
The title is The Reason. Yeah, that hippie kid that you mentioned, he's in this thing throughout, and you guys just kind of like form this emotional bond because I think the kid tells you at some point that he lost a brother a year before that in Vietnam.
That's right.
So there was a lot at stake there.
Yeah.
It's called The Reason. Keep your eye out for it. Shark, you did an amazing job, and again, I congratulate you.
Oh, yeah.
And
Thank you.
thanks for stopping by, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People like us that have served bleed red, white, and blue, and if you don't like it, go somewhere else.
What he said.
Hallelujah.
Yes. Hey, vets. Thanks for sitting in.
Appreciate your time, and check out The Reason, and stay tuned to the Veterans Network with Rick Seaman.
Thank you.
And Brian Burkhart. And all the rest of us. Welcome home, everybody.
Welcome home.
God bless America.
And then 20 days after ZM gets it, John F. Kennedy got it. Dallas, Texas, November 22nd, 1963. It was madness. Profound, paradoxical, fucking madness. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
This is about your brother.
It's about him. It's about America.
You know, there's still a lot of good, brave soldiers over there that are willing to stick it out. And I feel for their families like I feel for yours. Because some of them will continue to die over there. Yes. Because of the fat cat sad-ass politicians that give it nothing but gutless rhetoric. What in the hell was the reason?